What up, sluts? I had someone in my Instagram feed ask about sexual shame and how to deal with the idea that sex is wrong or bad. And I grew up evangelical, so I am no stranger to sexual shame. I was taught very explicitly that any sex outside of a heterosexual, lifelong, monogamous partnership, marriage particularly, was evil and wrong and would separate me from God and would ruin my life and yada yada. I don't believe that anymore. And so I just kind of wanted to share two things that I think have helped me have good sex despite having grown up with these ideas and really believed them for a long time. And the first thing that's helped me is sex positive feminism, right? The idea that sex is inherently morally neutral. And I think that that's a really important idea, and it's something that I push because it's been very helpful to me. It really helps nip that idea, at least, that these kinds of sex that are outside of these narrow boundaries is wrong or shameful. I don't believe that anymore. I think that sex is inherently morally neutral, and that anything done among consenting adults is, it's not good or bad. It just is, right? But then the other thing that I think it's important to keep in mind, I found, is that sometimes your heart doesn't catch up with your head. Like, sometimes you can understand an idea cognitively, but your emotions are still kind of stuck in the past. And so just because I know or I believe cognitively that sex is inherently morally neutral doesn't mean I don't feel shame. It doesn't mean that I don't feel afraid that what I'm doing is wrong, that it will ruin my life, that the messages that I were taught were true. But what's helped me with that is to identify and let myself feel my emotions. And I think that this is really important for good sex, no matter what negative emotions you're dealing with, whether it's shame or self-consciousness or fear or whatever it is. I think sex is best. Sex and masturbation are best when you show up and you just are what you are. Like, you let yourself feel whatever you feel. So if you feel shame, to say, like, when I feel afraid in a sexual encounter, to say to myself, I'm feeling fear, and that's okay. It's okay for me to feel afraid right now, and it's okay to tell my partner. It's okay to not tell my partner. It's okay to end the encounter or put it on pause. Like, any of those moves are okay. But mostly it's just okay that this is what I'm feeling right now. And what often happens when we feel things that are unpleasant, and especially that we feel like we shouldn't be feeling, is that the reaction to the feeling just it makes the whole thing worse, where it's like you feel shame or you feel fear, and then you feel bad about feeling that shame or fear, and then you kind of spiral, or at least that's what happens to me. And what helps me break the loop is to just identify what I'm feeling and try to accept it. Like, yep, I'm feeling fear. I wish I weren't, but it's what's happening, and I'm just going to let myself feel this. I'm going to let it happen to me. Feelings are like weather, right? They happen to us. We can fight them, but that's not often very effective. What's often most effective is just to roll with it for a little bit until it passes, to accept it. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful.